I started unfollowing all of the cardio queens and stopped watching their content on YouTube and stopped looking at their content on Instagram. And I started following. So let's talk about strength training. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for subscribing. My name is Chalene Johnson. And for those of you who do know me, I'm just gonna be like brief about the background of why I'm making this video, but I also wanna share with you my story. And because I've watched a lot of people's body transformation videos, and I think mine's really different. I'm sure there's people that have had something similar, but like, I don't know that you would understand why strength training is so important if I didn't share my own transformation story. So again, for those of you who know me, I have done lots of fitness infomercials. I did my first fitness infomercial in, I think, 2004. I've been in the fitness industry, or had been in the fitness industry. I don't consider myself now as someone who's in the fitness industry. Now I'm in the industry of helping people to have optimal health and to have crazy, amazing, fun-filled lives, balance. In fact, I'm very much anti fitness culture and diet culture, but yet I love fitness. And I think nutrition and what you eat as part of your diet is so important, especially to your optimal health. But it's the whole like consumerism of it that wasn't healthy for me. I'm gonna put a link to a video right here where you can hear the story, the answer to the question, like, Chalene, why did you leave the fitness industry? This is the answer. It's detailed. If you've already watched that, then I won't bore you with the details, but I do need to give you like a little bit of background to help you understand like how it is I got to where I am today and why I want you to fall in love with strength training and how strength training totally transformed not just my body, but my mindset, because I was very much someone who, although I was like never formally diagnosed, I diagnosed myself as being orthorexic, over exercising. I destroyed my metabolism, and in the process really did a number on my health, my overall health, my gut health, my brain health, injuries, you name it, my immune system, like everything was really pretty bad. And it had a lot to do with exercise, which sounds crazy because isn't exercise supposed to be so good for you? Yes, but sometimes when we think, if it's a good thing, I should do more of it, it isn't always the case. So for me, when I've always strength trained, okay, but to go back in time, I grew up in like the 80s and 90s where we were conditioned to believe, most of us women, that you just need to do more cardio. Like exercise is cardio. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you want to lose weight, if you want to look great, if you want to stay in shape, you do more cardio. Run, 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 run. I started running in high school, and I just was convinced that that's what you're supposed to do to be healthy, is do cardio. Like I grew up in the days of high impact aerobics. It was like Jane Fonda. My mom taught jazzercise, and everyone just did aerobics. No one really talked about women doing strength training. Like I remember my dad, he was like a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. And so he would get like muscle building magazines. And I just remember that the women, when they featured them, I was like, oh my gosh, they just seemed like over sexualized and super like masculine, I thought, in some regards. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I just didn't think about role modeling my own physique after a woman who did strength training. And there were really just men as role models when it came to strength training. So my idea of being healthy was cardio, cardio, cardio. And I did tons and tons of cardio. Then once I became a fitness professional, I started being really fascinated by the research that was coming out of universities. I would attend the seminars where it was like the geeky professor who had done double-blind studies and was looking at muscle composition and what types of exercises and how many reps and how many sets and what is muscle hypertrophy and muscle atrophy and understanding like what is the right way to build muscle. Okay, and I did that, and I started creating my own strength training workouts, and I started strength training in the late 90s, probably around 2005. Yeah, I started strength training several times a week, and I was doing all the scientifically well-researched founded exercise protocols for strength training. A lot of the same exercises that I do today, but I didn't get results. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because maybe you're watching this video because you already do strength training and you're like, I don't know what the big deal is, Chalene. I can't change my body composition. I'm not getting results. Well, that was my problem. So I was strength training several times a week. I felt great. I loved feeling strong, but I just couldn't develop muscle. Like I wanted strong, developed deltoids. Like I love seeing nice, strong, defined deltoids on women, shoulders. Love it, love it, love it. And I wanted a strong butt. And I wanted like, you know, shapely hamstrings. But no matter what I did, I was just like, well, maybe I just don't have those genetics. Like I'm just not gonna see those kind of results. I just don't have that kind of body. And I don't know if this is true for you. Let me know in the comments if it is, where you've just thought to yourself, how come I don't get that kind of result? And I believed that for so long. And at the same time, at this time, I was also in consumer fitness workouts, which I felt so much imposter syndrome. And again, I've told that story in that video, but so much imposter syndrome. And so I had so much fear around like gaining weight and trying to be leaner so that I would be more marketable. Because let's face it, if you're leaner, then you sell more videos and producers are happier with you. And it's like a whole marketing thing. But that really was not very healthy for me. So what I would do is more and more cardio. I would do hours of kickboxing and then I would come home and I would run. And of course, I would also do some strength training because I knew that that felt good. I knew that it was good for my body. I believed the research. So first of all, I was doing way too much cardio because I had been brainwashed to believe that's what you do to be healthy. That's what you do to lose weight, to maintain weight, to have a faster metabolism. You just have to do more cardio. But what I didn't realize is because I was depleting my body of the nutrients and energy that it needed, my body was not able to build muscle. I wasn't creating muscle hypertrophy, the growth of muscle, because my hormones were out of whack, because I was too deficient in calories. My metabolism had slowed because I was doing all of this activity, not eating enough calories, and I certainly wasn't consuming the right kind of food or the right kind of nutrients. I wasn't eating a whole foods diet. It was very processed. I was doing a minimal amount of calories each day. Protein shakes, protein bars, anything that came packaged and considered like healthy. But really, I was just afraid to eat real food because I knew if it came in like a little package or if it was a shake or whatever, then I knew exactly how many calories was in it or exactly how many macros, and I could monitor it that way. But I was depriving my body of the nutrients it needed. So it was impossible for me to get any kind of physical results. I wasn't growing muscle. And in addition to that, my body always felt sore. It always felt tired. I had endless amounts of injuries and I wasn't getting adequate sleep. My sleep was always disrupted. I didn't realize I needed to have as much sleep as I needed. And so my body was basically under attack. And once I realized, okay, I am really unhealthy because I had a brain scan and I've got to make some changes. So I started doing all this research to figure out like, okay, am I doing something wrong with my strength training? What do I need to do to be healthy? And one of the first things I did, this might offend some people, but I'm just gonna be honest, is I went to the gym. You know how there's different areas, like there's the group exercise room, and you look at the shape and what people are in there. You just look, like, do they look healthy? What do their bodies look like? And I looked at the people who are endlessly on the cardio equipment. I'm not talking about the people who are like doing 20, I'm talking about the people who are there for hours and they're every day on the same machine. And then I looked in the area where the weight room, and ideal, it's a lot more men, but I looked at the women in the weight room and I judged. I looked at everyone and thought, and although you don't always know if someone's healthy from looking at them, I knew I saw inspirational physiques in the weight room. The people who were really focused on heavy strength training, their bodies looked amazing at any age. The next thing I started doing is I started unfollowing all of the cardio queens and stopped watching their content on YouTube and stopped looking at their content on Instagram. And I started following women who were older than me and were very into strength training. Now, I'm not talking about bodybuilders. I'm not talking about physique competitions because I personally don't think that's sustainable. But I did notice that the women who were really into strength training had unbelievably inspirational physiques. They looked younger, they looked more vivacious, and I started following their stories and learning more about how they transformed their bodies. And I kept hearing the same messages over and over and over. Prioritize strength over cardio. You've got to eat more. You've got to have the right amount of protein. You've got to take care of your body, and you need rest. To me, rest was a 4-letter word. Like, it was bad. Rest meant you were lazy. If you were resting, how could you be improving yourself? If you were resting, how could you be burning calories? If you were resting, how could you have a great body? But truly, the gains that we make are not in the gym. The gains that we make are in how we fuel our bodies and how we allow our bodies to recover. So what did I do differently? I was doing the same strength training workouts, and I'm going to share those with you in this video. I'm going to share with you some of my routines. I might even try to take you to the gym with me. We'll see if that works out. But I kept doing pretty much the same strength routines. Of course, exercising periodization, which means I'm changing up my routine so I don't ever plateau. Changing up the way I do my sets and reps, etc. But what I did change, and this is the big one, is my cardio. Asking myself, am I beating up my body, or am I doing something that feels good and is active? And I stopped doing hour-long sessions of high impact workouts, which is what I was doing, followed by later in that evening running, which is also high impact, moderate intensity, but high impact. And I just cut it back to about 30 minutes for my cardio. And I would do things that were sometimes high intensity, but if I did high intensity, I made certain it was low impact. Like, for example, interval cycles on my indoor cycling bike. Or I might do like a circuit, like a boot camp circuit at the gym, but not with jumping, no impact, like battle ropes and the rower machine and the skier and the, what's this machine? You know what I'm talking about. But I would do all low impact, but high intensity so that my workouts were shorter. And then in addition to that, you can't do high intensity all the time because that's going to deplete your body. So several times a week, I walk. I'm more active. I do plyo. I do things that are gentle on my body, but they're active and they get my cardiovascular workout in without depleting my body, without beating up my body. And that was really hard. At first, I was like, this is not going to work, because I've been so brainwashed that if I wasn't like dripping wet in sweat and exhausted, then it wasn't a good workout. And I just had to trust the process, right? And the research was so powerful and so convincing, and I just couldn't deny it. And I thought, what do I have to lose? I want to be healthy. I need to eat more. So I reversed my diet and slowly started adding back calories and slowly started adding back foods that in the past I was afraid to eat. And I started getting rid of all that processed, quote, healthy protein stuff, got rid of all that and started eating like whole foods and making certain that I was getting enough protein and the right amino acids and the right supplements for muscle development. And slowly but surely, what's crazy is I started loving my body. I started seeing shoulders. I started seeing glutes and hamstrings. I started feeling better. I stopped having injuries. I stopped like dreading that my next, intense workout. I started just like feeling so much more empowered, and people kept saying like, you look younger now. What's going on? You look younger now. Strength training is the fountain of youth. It boosts your testosterone, your human growth hormone, all naturally. And it makes you more capable of doing your regular cardio and your other workouts. It's crazy how it makes you feel. It's unlike cardio. Again, I still do cardio and I want you to do cardio, but I think if you're really looking to transform your body, to change your shape, cardio doesn't change your shape. Cardio burns calories, but so does strength training. Strength training changes the shape of your body and it changes your hormones. It's the only form of exercise that literally helps you to balance your hormones. The key is you have to make sure that you're adequately fueling yourself and giving yourself adequate rest. And that means you might need to cut way back on your cardio. And hopefully that is music to your ears because you're a little tired. When I was exercising that much, I was never proud of and never satisfied with my body. And I always cared about the number on the scale. Now, I never look at the number on the scale because who cares? What does it matter what the number is if I like my shape, right? If I like my shape, who cares if the number is higher? My goal is to look and feel amazing. I got rid of my scale. I don't look at my scale. I test my body fat like once a year. And at the same time, I look at my osteoporosis or bone density, if you will. And I want to look at, am I building muscle? And in fact, after the age of 40, we begin to lose 2% of our muscle fibers every single year continually, unless you're actively building muscle. And if you're actively building muscle, which you can do into your 90s, you can change and maintain a shape that makes you look more youthful. As we lose muscle, it's replaced with fat and scar tissue. And we tend to feel like we're in more pain. We have more injuries, far more injuries, if you're not strength training and you're only doing cardio. And that is because you're losing muscle. So I want to take you, today's leg day for me. I lift between 4 to 6 days a week. You don't need to do that. I'm just telling you what I do. Maybe you can do less. Maybe you want to do more. I don't know. I'm just sharing with you what I do, and I love it. It never feels like punishment. It's a treat. And if I have only the opportunity to do strength or cardio, of course I'm going to, spoiler alert, I'm going to do strength training. Well, this is my current routine, which I change regularly. So you can see what I do in a typical week. I don't do this with perfection, but this is my goal most weeks. So you'll see that there are 3 days a week I'm doing some kind of legs, and today is leg day. Now, I've never filmed at the gym before. Isn't that crazy that I filmed so many exercise videos, but I've never filmed myself working out at the gym. So I'm gonna try that today. I don't know if they'll let me, but let's see if I can't bring you along, and I'll try to sneak the camera in, and I'm gonna show you some of the things that I do on my leg day training. Now, my strength training workouts are typically, I could do them in 30 to 40 minutes easily. You can do strength training just even 3 days a week for 20 minutes and see incredible benefits, like insane benefits. There's no other workout where you can do that. I mean, there's no other form of exercise that gives you those kind of benefits in such a short period of time with so many crazy benefits to your overall health. Remember, it's not just about weight loss. It's not just about calorie burn. It's about being healthy. It's about your hormones. It's about feeling strong and confident, and strength training will do that for you. All right, so I'm gonna take you with me to the gym. We'll see how this goes. To start my leg day routine, I love doing something that's like full body, like squats. And for me, I really prefer to use this landmine and Olympic bar attachment because I just hate having a heavy bar across my shoulders for doing squats. I mean, I'll do it sometimes, but I just love starting with this one. For all of these exercises, 3 sets and anywhere from 10 to 12 reps. Okay, and I prefer to do this exercise on an elevated platform so that I can have a deeper squat, greater range of motion, meaning I can take the weights even lower, but I didn't have a step platform at this gym, so I may do. Next up were hamstring curls. And by the way, the order that you do these things in is not that important. I mean, it really isn't. And a lot of times what equipment is available kind of determines what order I do the exercises in. What matters is that you get them all in. So these are hamstring curls. What's key here is that I'm keeping my hip flexors pressed hard against the pad as opposed to kind of like arching your back or flexing your hip flexors. Instead, you want to push your hip flexors into the pad. Try keeping your feet relaxed. And again, 12 reps and squeeze at the top. Moving on to do 3 sets of leg extensions. And my first set, I do 1 leg at a time. So I'll do 12 on the right and then 12 on the left. And the reason why I do this is because sometimes when you're doing both legs, like I'm doing here, you don't realize you're using one leg more than the other. So I always start with individual legs, and then I finish by doing 2 more sets with both legs. My quadriceps burn so bad, and they always have, and I usually have to go so light for my quads, and they just burn like crazy, but I love seeing strong quadriceps, so I'm pushing through this. Again, I do 3 sets between 10 to 12 reps. I get such a strong burning sensation in my quadriceps. I feel like I'm going to come out of my body, but that's a really good sign. It's one way to know that you're lifting heavy enough. That is not lactic acid. That's a myth. We'll talk about that in another video. Okay, moving on to traveling lunges with a twist or with a side step. So I do a big step into a deep lunge, and then I cross behind and kind of go into a curtsy lunge. So regular lunge, then curtsy lunge, little pulse and up, regular lunge, then curtsy lunge, up and pulse. And what this does is it works my hamstrings, my glutes, as well as the gluteus medius, as well as the adductors and abductors. So every single time I do this, I get that delayed muscle soreness that I love the day after leg day. I think I did about 8 to 10 steps per leg, and again, 3 sets. This machine is wonderful for the outer hips. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm putting pads against the inside knee pads, and this is a great little hack, ladies. Oh my gosh, you're gonna get so much more range of motion. And this particular exercise obviously targets the outer glutes, that upper outer side of the booty that really rounds out the glutes. Pretty proud of how strong I am with this particular exercise. It's just hard to find 2 pads at most gyms. So even if you can find 1 pad, that helps your range of motion. And I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. For this exercise, I have 1 heavy weight. Sorry about the filming angle. Like, what is that big thing in this shot? Sorry about that. Anyways, these are goblet squats. And as you can see, I am kind of centered between 2 platforms. That gives me more range of motion. I am not flexing forward or leaning forward at the hips. In fact, it's almost as if my back is sliding up and down straight against a wall. Primarily, this exercise targets the adductors and the hamstrings, and of course the glutes. Next exercise is the split lunge. These are so good. Now, if you look closely, you'll see I have all the weight on my heel, and I'm keeping my torso at about a 45-degree angle. But the angle of your torso isn't going to be the same for every single person because we have different physics. You might have a longer femur, a shorter torso, a longer torso, and all of that will change slightly the angle of or pitch of your upper body. I kept this shot in because I thought my butt looked really good. This is why, because these split lunges are going to give you the booty, especially if you're fueling the right way before and after your workouts and making certain that you're getting enough protein and, of course, rest. For split lunges, I like to have something nearby that I can just like put my hand on it real quick if I start to lose my balance, especially on my right leg where my balance is not as good as it is on the left. And I think that's important because it will allow you to go a little bit deeper and have better control if you just have something that you can tap your hand on and recalibrate your balance. I finished all of that in less than 30 minutes. My legs are shaking, and so it doesn't have to take very long. As you can see, I went with full hair and makeup. I did not put my hair up because I'm going to film or I have a podcast interview later today, and I'd already done my hair and makeup. And so that's the other great thing about strength training is, I mean, I'm doing lower body, so this is the sweatiest I'm ever going to get. When I do upper body, which is the other 3 days a week, I don't even get sweaty. So, I mean, you don't have to like completely be drenched and have to start over with taking a shower and redoing your hair and makeup, and that's a time saver. Okay, now as promised, I want to share with you some of the routines that I'm doing currently. So like I said, 6 days a week is my goal. Sometimes I get 5, sometimes I get 4, and who cares? It's consistency. Consistency is the key, not perfection. But these are, and you can just take screenshots of these. These are my current workouts. And you might want to know, like, how heavy do I lift, or what's the amount of weight that I use for these sets and reps? And I can't answer that for you. The goal is to lift a weight that is so heavy you can barely complete the last rep with good form. Not to injure yourself, but if you can do like 12 reps and you're like, oh, I could probably do like 4 or 5 more, then you didn't go heavy enough. That's a good rule of thumb. The weight, the amount does not matter. Don't get attached to like 15 pounds or 12 pounds or 20 pounds. It doesn't matter. Your muscle doesn't care what the number is on the end of the weight. Just ask yourself, could I go heavier? Because the heavier you lift, the more muscle you're going to build, and the more muscle you build, the faster your metabolism, all those things. But if you really don't know what you're doing in the gym, can I recommend hiring a personal trainer? Also, if you like to do streaming workouts, I have a program called Chalene Extreme. You will laugh at the outfits that I'm wearing in these videos. The outfits are completely outdated, but the workouts are legit. These are still the workouts that I would do today. They're scientifically based. They're very sound workouts. It's just that the outfits are embarrassing. I do apologize for the boots. I knew that when I made those videos, I would someday be very embarrassed by those boots, but that's the price you pay when you're a fashionista. Okay, that's a great way to understand strength training. I really firmly stand behind those workouts. Not so much a fan of the diet plans that go with them, but that's a whole nother video. Check in with the front desk and ask them if they will set you up with a personal trainer or even just an assistant at the gym to take you around and show you the equipment, show you how to use it. I know a lot of people are huge fans of the tonal, and that's like having a personal trainer in your home. I think it's pretty pricey, but everyone I know who's bought one is like, it's the best thing I've ever bought, and it's changed my body. So, well, again, I haven't used it, but people swear by it. And you don't need a lot of equipment. You can use free weights and resistance bands. That's great strength training. Plyo is also considered a form of strength training. You know, using your own body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, air squats. But the key is that you're overcoming enough force that you're creating muscle hypertrophy. Because it's that muscle hypertrophy that really changes your body's composition and the way your shape is. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really do thank those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. Right here, you should see a thumbs up. I'd love for you to drop a thumbs up there. And if you've made it this far in the video, do me a favor, drop a comment and let me know, what is your favorite muscle group to see developed on, if you're a man, tell me, like, as a man, I want strong calves, or as a woman, I want to have strong shoulders. Like, tell me what your favorite muscle group is to see on yourself and that you're working to develop. Drop that in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I mean, maybe there's some questions you might have about strength training. I also would love to invite you to subscribe to my podcast. I've done a bunch of episodes recently on strength training, on getting your mojo back if that's the problem when it comes to exercise. You're like, I know what I need to do, I'm not doing it. Got a great podcast on that for you. Those links will be below this video. And yeah, I'm trying to be much more intentional about my YouTube videos. So if there's anything you'd like to see, drop it in the comments. I do appreciate that. And I'm reading all of them. Promise you, I will see your comment. And thank you so much for being here. I love you. I mean it. We'll talk to you soon.